Good morning and welcome to episode 4 of the Morning Mental Health Chat with me, Chris. And today is about trauma and about facing up to your past and moving forward. And in this video, I may say things that are against what you believe, what you've been told, may upset you, may trigger you. But I want you to understand this. I'm here to help you, guide you. Believe me. And I'm not saying this just as a therapist who specialises in helping people with trauma, somebody who's lived it. I had PTSD for nearly a decade. Some of my clients I see have had PTSD for many decades. They've tried all the pills and potions, they've been to different therapies, nothing's helped them. They think they're a lost cause. They think this lifelong illness, the life sentence. Well, I'm here to tell you today that it's not. I'll tell you why. Trauma isn't really about what happened. That image that's stuck in your head is the brain actually doing something good or bad. And what is happening is it's regurgitating this event and all these horrible emotions linked to it, and the pain, the guilt, the anger, the frustration, all linked to that image. After my dad died and the event that happened there, I watched him die over a period of about 15 hours. What stuck with me was the guilt that I didn't help him. My brain rationalised it out of it. Should have done this, should have done that, could have done this, could have done that. You did nothing. You're weak. It played over and over again in my day after day, week after week, month after month. I was a horrible person to be around. There was little glimpses of the real me, but mainly this monster would take over. By the time I thought of ending it all in 2020, it wasn't suicide. I was planning a murder. I knew that to kill this monster that was living in here, I had to destroy myself. And I made peace with that. I come to terms with that. And I rationalised that it was the best outcome for my family, for my friends. They'd be better off without me. And all of that nonsense bollocks that our brain can do to rationalise when we're in so much pain. Without the correct help that I had, I wouldn't be here today. But how did I face my trauma head on? Because that is what a lot of people think. And there are some therapies out there that do it in a way that is just horrific, like a rape victim, for instance. There are some therapies out there that would want them to sit with their rapist, chat with them, forgive them. Well, you can sit there in front of that person, you're a stronger person than I am. Do I believe we need to let something go in ourselves? Of course. Because once the event is done, doesn't matter what it is, done. Now it's just a memory. All memories are alive. And I think back to the image that haunted me. I know now that it was a lot. It was little bits of what happened that night, edited in to make a 3 second video, 3 or 4 seconds, that just play over. But it'd be one, edited perfect. And the hate and the anger and the guilt, frustration, sadness, all of that was linked to it. Pain and the shame every day. And I help my clients face their trauma head on. It's not done in a way that's painful. You see, and the first thing I make sure, even on the phone call, a consultation phone or video call, I make them aware. I do not need to know what happened. If you don't want to tell me, you haven't got to. All I need to know is how it's going on in your brain, so I know what to do next. Don't need to know what. And it's pointless talking about it until those emotions have been disconnected from the image. Some therapies get you to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. But that's like turning the hob on the oven, putting your hand on it, and it hurts. So you take your hand off, and then you're told, put your hand back on it again. So you do. It hurts even more. Put your hand back on it. So you do again, and again, and again. Now, eventually, you're going to lose feeling in your hand, just as you'll lose feeling in your brain. Now you've got another problem. A lot of clients come to me who have been traumatized by a therapist who was supposed to have helped them. They've been in therapy for years for it, doing nothing but talking about it. And then there's me. I don't need to hear a word about it. And that's why people come to me. Trauma can stay, it's in our head, but also it can affect everything in our bodies. We can lose the ability to control limbs. We can develop, like, things like IBS. We can there's all manner of things that we class as physical that can happen, but it's all being done by the brain. The brain controls everything, consciously and unconsciously. Like now I'm recording this and I'm talking to you and whatever else, and while I'm doing this, I don't know it, I can't feel it, but I know that my body is digesting what I had to eat a couple of hours ago. I'll continue to do that process without me knowing it's happening until I need to go and have the end result. People think, or people get told that trauma is that lifelong illness, that lifelong condition now, that something bad has happened and you've got to put up with that. You'll always have the memory of it, but you haven't got to have those negative emotions. Think to it. So now, if I think about um, that event caused my PTSD and the movie that played in my mind, what do I feel? Well, before would have been angry, would have hate, wanted to either just sit there and cry or rip somebody's head off or be a nasty bastard, basically. I never did anything like that. I did quite a few stupid things, um, which would have resulted in my life being ended had they have that worked out. Um, but when I think about it now, there we go. What you get for putting your camera stand on a rug, move your feet, and the whole camera goes. Um, but if I think about it now, what do I feel? Well, Dad died, so I feel sadness because I miss my dad. But there's nothing I could have done. There's acceptance there now. Has been for 5 years, 6 years. So it's just that sort of sadness. And when I think about it, obviously it's that sadness and missing my dad, which is a normal emotion. That's fine. I say all that negative hatred, anger, and all of that, guilt, the shame. And I remember part of my process. I'd gone in 2020, had my therapy session, and in 2021, later in 2021, when I was doing my first training course, I, like I say, I was fine. I'd moved on with my life. I'd quit the job that was destroying me. The divorce had happened and all of that, and I'd moved on with my life. And I did my first in-person training course to become a hypnotherapist. I was working, it was all partnered up, and I was working with this lovely lady, and she got all the paperwork out on the side of all the things that we'd learned on that day and whatever else. And working with me, and I was being a client, and she was being a therapist, practicing and whatever else. And even though we've been doing it over and over, day after day, it was probably about the third or fourth day in, and I just felt something in my brain. go, and our instructor had called us to end that bit. No, he was giving. He said we've got 15 minutes left of that section. Well, this had come up, and it was there, like like it felt like something was stuck. Because remember this, the brain doesn't work in words; it works in pictures, it works in colours, it works in images, it works in algorithms, and these feelings and these emotions and pictures all work together. And but words are for other people, not for us. I'm using words to communicate with you. For me, I'm remembering what's happening, I'm picturing it, and I'm feeling it. I can see it. That's what words do. It generates these images, which is great for other people, not good for us, especially if we're talking about trauma. Anyway, felt this thing, whatever it was. And I said to her, look, and she wasn't the most confident at this point. No. And I said to her, look, I don't know what you've done, what you've shifted here, but it's got to go. I said, it's there. She's like, what is it? And I couldn't physically, no matter how hard I tried, tell her what it was. So I got her to give me her pen, and I writ on my hand, guilt. That was, in my opinion, the final part to be shifted. And she did. And then it got to the point where I couldn't physically say it. Then I could. Then I knew what it was about. And then we shifted it. All within a matter of 5, 10 minutes. Not that. And I just felt free. You got this massive confidence boost of being able to do that. And but I got this sense of this freedom, that thing that I could feel that was in there. I'd compressed it over the years. It was about a different issue, something that was early on in my life, concerning when my granddad was here and he had dementia. Um, it was about that and the guilt I had towards that. But because of all the other stresses of life and the trauma of my dad dying later on, sort of washed that down, if you like. Um, but it came up during that session and it was removed. I could move forward. And once it's done, it's done. So when I say face up to your trauma, I don't mean face up to it physically. I mean in here. Because everything exists in our brain. Our memories are in our brain. That's what it is. Happened. We can't go back in time. We can't change it. Can't do anything differently. If it was your fault, what lessons could be learned from it? Maybe it was a car crash that you caused. What lessons could you learn? It wasn't your fault. Maybe you was attacked or something like that. Or like in my case, somebody died and it was a traumatic event for you. As soon as it happens, it's now in the past and it's a memory. But if we drag that into our present and push it into our future, the negative impact on our lives is, there's no words for it. No words for it. people often think as well PTSD, trauma, that sort of thing is a soldier thing. There's still that misconception. It's I very rarely see soldiers. Very, very rarely see because they're taught to believe a different way. The therapists I know who do see soldiers were either soldiers or in the emergency services or something themselves, and they have that sort of connection and language with that person. I don't have that. I've worked with soldiers and worked successfully. From what I can gather from talking to them, their way of being told how to deal with it, very old fashioned, um, and not very helpful at all. And all trauma is layers. They can give it labels and they can give it what they want. But if we were all traumatized by one event, then we'd all be born with PTSD because our birth is bloody traumatic. We don't remember it. But also, childbirth is, for both men and women, one of the biggest issues I work with when coming to trauma. Why? Because childbirth can go from being the happiest experience of somebody's life to an absolute nightmare. I had a client who was in the hospital. Baby was fine, no problems in the cot thing next to the bed. Um, Partner wasn't there then when the event happened, and she just gone to the toilet. Got up to go to the toilet. When she come back, there was a crowd of doctors and nurses around the baby, and she goes into panic mode. Nobody's giving her answers. After the event, the baby had some medical problem. Best place for the baby to be in the hospital. However, all the mother got out of it was shouldn't have gone to the toilet, shouldn't have left the baby. She's a bad mother. Guilt, anger, frustration, pain, all of that. It was going to happen regardless. She just so happened to have gone to the toilet at that point. She didn't know it was going to happen. Nobody did. Happened. Also, wasn't her fault. So, for letting go, and we have to accept that. I can tell you it wasn't your fault. This, but this, that, and the other till the blue in the face. It doesn't matter. We have to. And you want to know what did it for me? When I was having my hypnotherapy session, because the brain works in images and pictures, those emotions that are linked to it and things like that. I sat with my dad outside his favourite bar. And I just want to point this out. I don't believe in ghosts, spirits, or anything like that. I know exactly where I was. I was in a therapist's office with my eyes closed, and this was in my mind. Right? Rationally, I knew that. But I sat with him, and he said to me, nothing you could have done. Let it go. And it went, just like that. And I opened my eyes. I opened my eyes, and I just remember sitting there, staring at the floor. I could see the therapist at the corner of my eye. And it felt like I was staring at the floor for hours, but it must have only been a few seconds. And I said, "What the fuck have you done?" And he smiled at me. I was thinking then about this image. It was no longer causing me pain. It was amazing. And even though to this day I've helped many people overcome their trauma, but I still think back to it and I still get that wow feeling. And when I help people with their trauma and I get them to open their eyes, split second, before I say it to them, if you think of that image, what happens now? Split second, well, I'll have done it before I've told them. That realization kicks. That's what I love about this, what I do, help people. If you're struggling with trauma and if you've tried other therapies and they're not working, you need something else. Just remember what I've said in this video. It is a memory with shitty emotions linked to it. Doesn't matter how it's affecting you physically, mentally. You need. Doesn't matter how it's affecting you physically or mentally. You can conquer it. You can move forward, and you must. You must be you, because we've only got one life. If you have it changed, you'll feel reborn again and be able to do the things that you want to do. Live the life that you want to live. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it, share it, and give me a follow. I'll help you change your life. I'm Chris Harrison. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye bye.